Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. Xiahao was shocked. He carefully looked at it. Why did it have the aura of the great Dao? It really was shocking. Dao brother, help me out here with this dragon bone soup. I invite you to drink a cauldron with me. Xiahao said. However, he was inwardly nervous, because he felt an extremely dangerous aura. He felt that this precious flame was not easy to subdue. He had to think of some other way. He actually already felt the urge to fly into the sky. A pair of Kuan Peng wings were faintly visible behind him. If he spread his wings, he would immediately possess extreme speed. He didn't believe that this sphere of fiery light would be able to catch up to him. The green light illuminated everything, as if the heavens were opened. The jade-green radiance swept outwards without a trace of impurity. However, as it burned, it began to turn blue, becoming more and more like the color of the sky. Xiahao was shocked. His intuition told him that this flame was extremely unordinary. However, it seemed to dislike him, and was going to act aggressively against him. As expected, a xiao sounded. A green streak flew at him, a fiery wisp. It unexpectedly burned the void until it distorted. Natural Dao law ripples even sounded. Xiahao was shocked. He moved his body sideways. That was just a wisp of flame, yet it melted an enormous rock that weighed over 100,000 jin in weight. It even more so left the great earth roiling with magma. He sucked in a cold breath of air. This kind of power, this type of natural Dao law ripples were too terrifying. This power could definitely easily kill deities. I definitely can't subdue it. Xiahao clearly realized this reality. That flame seemed to have a will, and it bore hostility against him. Dao brother, if you have something to say, then say it. Do you want to eat the bones? So how about I move out of your way? Xiahao laughed bitterly. Xiahao spread his wings. His body curled with electricity, and at his feet, symbols appeared as well. He merged the Kuan Peng, lightning, and earth withdrawal techniques into one, forming the greatest speed to rush into the heavens. However, right at this moment, he suddenly felt as if something was strange, so he stopped himself again. It was because that blue sky retreated, not attacking him. Meanwhile, he felt as if something not too far out was comfortably warm. There was a flame there that was bright and sparkling. It appeared at the edge of the bronze ancient coffin, and scared off the green flame. This flame was similarly the size of a fist and densely packed with symbols. Upon closer inspection, it didn't seem like a flame and more like something formed from symbols. Meanwhile, in front of the bronze coffin, the warm radiance seeped out. Then, the flame that appeared was covered in symbols, making it look not like a divine flame, but like Dao patterns. It easily supported the blue sky, making this place unaffected. Xiahao's pupils rapidly contracted. What a powerful flame! Xiahao became silent. That blue fiery light disappeared. It was startled and was chased off, entering the great earth. This made Xiahao shocked. Meanwhile, the sparkling symbol light by the copper coffin disappeared with a flash. It also quickly disappeared. They both left. Xiahao rubbed his hands. He suddenly discovered that both of these precious flames were terrifying and not as easy to absorb as he thought. Meanwhile, in front of the bronze coffin, the warm radiance seeped out. Then, the flame that appeared was covered in symbols, making it look not like a divine flame, but like Dao patterns. It easily supported the blue sky, making this place unaffected. Xiao's pupils rapidly contracted. What a powerful flame! Xiahao became silent. That blue fiery light disappeared. It was startled and was chased off, entering the great earth. This made Xiahao shocked. Meanwhile, the sparkling symbol light by the copper coffin disappeared with a flash. It also quickly disappeared. They both left. Xiahao rubbed his hands. He suddenly discovered that both of these precious flames were terrifying and not as easy to absorb as he thought. He held his hands behind his back and paced about the ruins, trying to think of a way. When the green flame covered the sky, it didn't destroy the ruins. These ruins were still here. He wanted to find an ancient altar so that he could bring this ancient coffin with him out of this place. However, no matter where he looked, the entire city was deathly still. In the end, he discovered an ancient altar, but it had long been destroyed. Only the enormous foundation rock remained. Shahal was shocked. As he searched through the ancient city, he discovered a few ruined artifacts that were divine materials. They were extremely valuable. He was immediately moved, starting to gather them. Medicine hall. What left him shocked was that there was a collapsed medicine refinement place. He actually dug up several jade containers that were perfectly intact, and after unscrewing their lids, they released multicolored light. These jade containers clearly had terrifying symbols carved on them before, only, now, they had all practically disappeared. Only the containers remained. What a pity. It has been too long, and the divine pills have practically all dissolved. There is only a bit of thin medicinal fragrance left. At the same time, he found a weapon storing pavilion. All of the magical artifacts were destroyed, simply unable to resist the corrosion of time. Their symbols were dim, and the weapons snapped. Shahal searched through the entire ancient city. He was puzzled, feeling like this place had existed for endless eras. It was far more ancient than what he had previously thought. This is a precious interspatial case. Suddenly, Shahal exulted. He discovered a magical artifact that looked extremely similar to the bronze precious case that contained a small world. However, the case was full of cracks, and faint light seeped out from it. With a light flick, a kacha sounded. It directly broke apart. With a hong sound, this place erupted with noise. It truly was a small world, and at this moment, it was collapsing. It was an extremely terrifying and shocking sight. If not for Shahal's speed being fast enough, it would have been extremely dangerous for him. He was extremely regretful. This precious case wasn't able to stand up to the test of time either. In the explosion just now, the things inside were most likely destroyed. Protection divine symbol. Shahal was shocked. He actually encountered this type of legendary precious symbol. Even after the precious interspatial case exploded, it still wasn't destroyed. So one could see just how high level this item was. There is a crack. I don't know if it can be used again, Shahal said softly. He waited for this divine symbol's radiance to recede, and then he picked it up. There were a few other divine symbols that, due to the protection divine symbol's barrier, were able to be preserved. Realm-shattering symbol. Shahal was shocked. There were two realm-shattering symbols, unexpectedly similar to the type Yi Qingxian gave him. Even the auras were a bit similar. This could clearly penetrate realm walls and travel through endless distance. It was a precious treasure, yet two of them appeared at once. There were two other symbols. One of them, even after studying it for a long time, couldn't figure out what it did, so he could only put it away. He managed to get a rough idea of the other one, a space-shattering symbol. Its use was quite clear, able to tear apart space and send one a certain amount of distance. It was a weaker form of the realm-shattering symbol. Let's test out its power a bit. Shahal had searched everything within this city of death, but there weren't any other spoils. He wanted to test the space-shattering symbol's efficacy, so he arrived in front of the copper coffin. In the end, he controlled the direction, bringing the bronze coffin and 9 skeletons with him as he disappeared from this place, entering the underground depths several hundreds of thousands of li away. The underground was dark, a sealed-off place. Placing the copper coffin here should be okay, right? Suddenly, he was shocked. This place lit up. That sparkling, resplendent flame that was formed from mysterious symbols appeared again. It had also followed along. Shahal was shocked, but then, he was extremely happy. At the same time, he began to wonder, could this flame be just inside this coffin? In addition, he wanted to obtain the tribulation crossing divine lotus elixir, so he could eat the golden body fruit. After that, he would have a symbol immunity ability that would grow together with him. Yu Chan's second body is there. I wonder what it will be like when we meet again. Shahal thought to himself. Several days later, Shahal returned to Fufeng City, and then he scouted about, discovering that Goddess Academy was extremely close. It was because Fire Province, Goddess Province, and Kuan Province all shared a common border. Goddess Academy was right on the border. He didn't use a transport formation and directly flew over. In just a day's time, he already hurried to this bustling and sacred cultivation land. Multicolored clouds rose, and all types of structures towered imposingly. There were even many spiritual mountains, flying waterfalls, and great rivers passing through the academy. It was extremely beautiful. It had a renowned reputation. Even though the higher realms were vast and boundless, this academy's long tradition and powerful name shook the 3,000 provinces. It was an inheritance that stood at the peak. Goddess Academy's 10 beauties paintings, who wants them? These are the 10 most stunning women you know. Sun God Sparrow Descendants Precious Technique, extremely valuable. Even though it is damaged, it can bring one's fire Tao to the peak. Once one completely comprehends it, one can understand the true meaning through the great Tao of fire and establish one's own path. Quasi-holy medicine, 8,000-year-old ancient medicine, already released holy radiance, and on the verge of becoming holy medicine. Those interested, bring your offers. This is a rare precious medicine. When Shahao entered this region, he already saw this kind of scene, when he was still quite far from Goddess Academy. There was a lot of people here, and an enormous open market rested here. All types of treasures were being exchanged. Shahao was quite shocked. This region was too large. Even after walking around for more than 2 hours, he still didn't reach the academy's entrance. It had to be mentioned that there really were treasures that could be exchanged for with other rare hidden treasures. It was to the extent where he even saw an archaic vicious beast precious technique that could be directly purchased. Of course, the price was extremely great, enough to ruin a few great clans. It was just too expensive, a price normal people couldn't bear at all. It was clear that this place had many unordinary people. At the very least, Shahao saw a few youngsters that surrounded that place, looking at the bone book and assessing that precious technique's price. Meanwhile, this wasn't the only example. There were other rare great divine abilities marked for sale. Of course, those were all areas decorated dazzlingly with extraordinary and imposing style. These were being auctioned off in a grand manner, and not sold directly like in a regular store. How formidable, even selling this type of divine ability. Goddess Academy really is quite formidable. Shahao couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Shahao strolled around this place, looking for things he was interested in. After walking a large circle, he discovered that this was a place where good people and scumbags coexisted. Good items were mixed with rubbish. There were quite a few fake goods. Unknowingly when he arrived in front of Goddess Academy's enormous gates. This was a gate that had existed since the archaic era. After all, there was no place under the sky that offered charity without a good cause. Large amounts of multicolored mists surged from the depths of the academy, and then an enormous figure appeared that covered heaven and earth, one that towered into the clouds. This figure even made the heavens tremble. He was like an unmatched human immortal. Right now, he revealed his true body, preaching within the academy and chanting sutras. The entire ancient land was shaken. That type of aura was too grand. It shook one down to their hearts. Many people couldn't help but bow down, prostrating themselves piously in worship. Large expanses of light scattered down, allowing many people to gain enlightenment. They all obtained some benefits, their flesh and souls appearing to have undergone some type of purification. Only after a long time had passed did everyone return to reality. Junior disciple is saying that our academy is not a place anyone can enter. Only 1 out of 1,000 geniuses are chosen, and all of those geniuses are elites of their clans. A young man smiled and spoke. He carried a somewhat currying tone as he looked at that woman, his face carrying a warm expression. Then, he looked at Shahao and said with a voice full of scorn, "You look like you are 21, or 2 years of age already, still in the formation arrangement realm, yet you still want to enter my academy. I advise you to return and cultivate bitterly for a few more years. What does an 18-year-old formation arrangement realm cultivator have to show off? There are a few excellent figures your age that are already about to light their divine flames." That extremely beautiful girl released a snort. She wore green clothes that were like lotus leaves, setting her off like flower buds, tender and gorgeous. She was extremely outstanding, curves undulating up and down. Her skin color was like snow, her appearance outstanding and truly beautiful. It was clear that the surrounding people noticed the scolding voices on this side. Many of them looked over, and there was no lack of academy disciples among them. Isn't this Chen Lin of the 10 beauties? Why is she so upset? Her mood seems to be quite terrible. There were some who revealed looks of admiration. Everyone discussed this with extremely soft voices. However, Shahao still heard them. His divine senses were extremely sharp, and as such, he was shocked. No wonder this young lady he randomly met was so beautiful. It turns out she used to be a well-known individual on Goddess Academy's exceptional beauty rankings. Meanwhile, he knew that Qingyu was Yu Chan. She didn't reveal her true body, or else an even greater uproar would be produced and her rankings would climb even higher. The other reason why Goddess Academy was so well known was because of its stunning beauties. Since the ancient times, it was unknown just how many exceptional beauties have appeared here. What are you still staring blankly for? Hurry and leave already. Stop standing in the way. The young man that was trying to get on Chen Lin's good side spoke again. Isn't that Wu Feng, one of the Academy mid-level top 100 experts? He's been famous for a while. I heard that he had been pursuing Chen Lin for a long time, an extremely powerful flower-guarding escort. Someone said softly. At the same time, a few others moved over, standing behind Chen Lin. It had to be said that the women on the beauty rankings had extremely great popularity. No matter where they went, there would always be a large group of flower-protecting escorts. Why do I have to leave? I wanted to enter Goddess Academy. Who knows, we might just be fellow disciples. Shahao smiled and said, not getting angry. On the side, someone reminded Shahao that now wasn't the time to accept disciples. It was because the last instance didn't happen too long ago, so if he wanted to enter, he could only wait until next year. It's not that there's no way. The Academy's great gates are always open to exceptional geniuses. If you can successfully walk up the heavenly staircase, then an exception can be made. Anyone can enter the Academy at any time through this method, someone said. There is this type of thing. Shahao was shocked. Everyone looked at him, especially a few younger men who were laughing strangely. They all revealed ambiguous expressions. Meanwhile, a few young ladies' faces became red. They inwardly spat out. It was clear that everyone didn't think he acted like that for the immortal pond, but instead that this fella had his eyes on the ranked gorgeous beauties. In that instant, Goddess Academy's great gate became quiet. Soon after, this place erupted into laughter. The younger disciples in the Academy all began to laugh. Their expressions were all extremely strange and rich with interest. There were even some who gave Shahao a big thumbs up. Junior brother, we are waiting for you to enter. When the time comes, let's chat about how outstanding the greatest ranked beauties are. Just the thought alone is wonderful. The scene of goddesses exiting the bath, it is definitely stunning to the extreme. It was clear that there were a few kindred spirits that were not hostile towards him or looked down on him. Instead, they revealed goodwill and laughed loudly, making eyes at Shahao. Perverts, lechers, absolutely disgraceful. Chen Lin's long, shapely eyebrows stood on end as she gnashed her teeth. She felt endless loathing and contempt for Shahao and that group of people. Wu Feng was even more direct with his words, saying, what nonsense, even people like this can enter my academy. Get him out. What kind of thing is this? His eyes flickered with cold radiance. There were naturally a group of flower-protecting envoys nearby. They were all excited, criticizing and scolding Shahao on and on. Of course, there were quite a few female disciples that joined in on this, berating the students that released ambiguous laughter previously. This place was extremely noisy. Don't waste your time thinking about it anymore. Do you really think he can climb the heavenly staircase? He will definitely become a laughing stock. How can someone like him be able to? Wu Feng ridiculed, shaking his head there. Of course I can. Widen all of your crossed eyes and watch carefully in a bit. Shahao said, what did you say? Chen Lin's phoenix eyes stood up vertically. Her beautiful pupils were full of coldness. Meanwhile, Wu Feng and the others' faces fell, staring at him with ill will. I want to make sure again. Are the rewards you all were talking about just now real? Shahao didn't pay them any attention, instead looking towards those around him and asking a step further out of fear of being swindled, of course. Then that's good. Actually, bathing with a few exceptional beauties really isn't bad either. Shahao said. He had his arms crossed in front of him, a brilliant smile resting on his face. Pervert, absolutely vulgar. You've exposed yourself. Scoundrel, where did this fella come from? There was a group of people who clearly couldn't take it anymore, most of them being women, but of course, there were quite a few flower-protecting envoys as well. The few that incited Shahao earlier all slipped away, fearful of inciting public anger. The events that happened here drew the attention of the people in the distance. Not only were there people from the academy, but also cultivators in the open market. They all revealed looks of surprise. Someone was going to try the heavenly staircase. Pass my trial first, or else you will just make everyone feel like you came to make a joke out of yourself. He didn't give Shahao any face and spoke like this. In the rear, there were people everywhere. There were cultivators from the open market, as well as students from the academy. They all looked in this direction, as you wish. Previously, Shahao didn't feel like bickering with him, but now that he decided to do this, he didn't act so politely anymore. At this moment, the scene immediately became quiet. Not a single voice could be heard. All of the clamoring sounds vanished. Everyone became shocked. Chen Lin looked forward with absolute disbelief. This youth was like a devil god. His entire body was covered in blazing light flames that pulsed around the surface of his body, leaving her heart shaken. Heavens, this fella is so powerful. It almost feels like a young heavenly deity is moving about. A few young ladies screamed out. The people that looked down on Shahao just now felt as if they were being suffocated. They now all felt a great pressure. This place immediately became quiet. Everyone had a feeling that something major might happen today. In the distance, Wu Feng crawled to his feet with difficulty. His body trembled lightly, and then he coughed out another mouthful of blood. Only then did he feel a bit better. His face was as pale as snow. He looked at the figure in front of him with horror. With a shua sound, Shahao leapt onto the tall platform, like a true dragon soaring into the skies. In that instant, the scene was changed greatly. The high platform turned into a fighting arena. In the arena was an enormous rock. Everyone inwardly thought to themselves and conservatively estimated that it should be at least 150 or 60,000 jin in weight. Those that wished to take the trial were required to raise it. This is just too easy, right? Does treading on the heavenly staircase only require this much? For us, it is just a simple task. Some people were shocked. They all felt that it was too easy. However, with Shahao's steps, many people closed their eyes, because they discovered that Shahao was shrinking, turning into a child. He was now only 7 to 8 years old. Meanwhile, there were layers of ripples around the arena, as well that affected many people. Everyone felt as if they returned to their childhood, back to the blood transformation realm. Heavens! What is happening? Why do I feel like I've returned to being a kid? This is why the arena is terrifying. Everyone finally understood. This was a test of the perfection of one's blood transformation, judging how powerful someone really was. Many people nearby the tall platform cried out, their faces turning snow white. They felt that if they also participated, their bodies would have been crushed under the 150,000 jin enormous rock. This how terrifying. Many people's entire bodies were covered in sweat. They quickly backed up, not daring to come closer again. They wanted to stay away from those ripples. This person was able to raise an enormous rock weighing 150,000 jin during his childhood. Heaven-defying. Everyone's minds were shaken. However, what left them shocked was that Shahao lowered the enormous rock. Then, after winding his right leg back, he kicked this enormous rock into the sky, blasting it apart right there and then. This is world-shocking divine force. Divine might. Did he grow up drinking true dragon blood? Many people cried out in alarm, all finding this hard to believe. Chen Lin even more so widened her large beautiful eyes and held her brightly colored red lips, fearing that she would cry outwards. Wu Feng and the others' faces were devoid of color, their scalps feeling numb. They deeply felt that this was an absolute freak. Another ringing sounded, resounding through Goddess Academy, indicating that he passed. So quick. He succeeded in the second trial. Did a monster come? Within the academy depths, a few people stood up. The ranked beauties were shocked, finding it difficult to hide their astonished expressions. As for the academy entrance, those people had long been stunned. Then noise erupted. Soon after, the third bell sounded, long and drawn out, echoing especially far. This can't be. The third trial was also passed. This is just too fast. Is he really undergoing the trials? Within the academy, a few heaven-warping geniuses couldn't sit still anymore. They couldn't remain calm. The fourth bell sound reverberated through the air, ringing like thunder. It continuously rumbled. Heavens, he passed the fourth trial. This won't do. I have to see who exactly this person is. There were exceptional beauties who walked out from their isolation, hurrying towards the academy entrance. You've provoked my curiosity. What kind of person is this? Meanwhile, within the other fine residences, there were exceptional beauties who stood up. They flung aside their original disdain and hurried towards the heavenly staircase. I want to see what kind of person this is. The previously overconfident youths that were known as the Academy's heaven-warping geniuses also moved. Those geniuses and exceptional beauties were stupefied. This was just too fast and ferocious. They hurriedly increased speed, fearing that they would miss out and not be able to see that scene. This is unprecedented. This kind of speed, it should have broken all past records, right? Someone cried out with a trembling voice. As for the academy entrance, it was long in an uproar. This is a freak, actually passing 5 trials, moreover with such speed. Simply inconceivable. Is something major really going to happen today? This fella is so ferocious. At the academy entrance, everyone's eyeballs were popping out. They all felt that this was unbelievable. A seemingly gentle youth actually acted so ferociously, continuously breaking through these trials and pressing forward fiercely. How many years had it been since someone came to challenge this? The heavenly staircase was difficult to pass, so difficult that not even the ancient sages, the past outstanding individuals, ancient heavenly deities, and others were able to pass it. They all failed. On the high platform, a sphere of light rose. Shahao was stretching out his hand and carrying out a ferocious confrontation. Magical chains appeared one after another, releasing clear metallic sounds to bind him up. This was the 6th trial. He was confronting the divine chains of order, a battle of the supreme expert realm. This fella looked quite despicable before, like a pervert, but now, he doesn't seem so bad, quite handsome. He is extremely formidable. Hey, can you stop acting like such a love-struck idiot? The group of people beside him closed their mouths. Earlier, they ridiculed Shahao together, mocking how he didn't know how high heaven was or how deep the earth went, that he should just forget about climbing up the heavenly staircase. However, the things that happened now were the most effective counterattack. It left them absolutely speechless and inwardly shaken. All of them were so shocked that they felt dizzy. Great waves stirred within their heart. I didn't come too late, right? A blue-clothed young lady elegantly arrived. Her eyes were like sapphire, and her hair was also a watery blue, lightly moving about like a blue waterfall. She carried a smile on her face. Her entire body was glowing, possessing an indescribable type of gentle beauty like that of water. Her intelligent appearance carried a scared feeling that drew people's attention. Qian Yao arrived. The bell sounds even left her alarmed. In that instant, voices sounded in this place. Many men revealed passionate eyes, as they looked over towards the beautiful figure. Ha ha, a ranked beauty was startled. The 4th ranked Qian Yao has appeared. Not only the men were crying out and revealing fiery gazes, even a few ladies were shocked. They attached great importance to this young lady, who was graceful like a fairy. Major news, junior sister Qian Yao has come out of isolation. Senior and junior brothers, are you all going to still stay calm? Hurry and go take a look. Within the academy depths, many people received news. They were extremely shocked, and all of them got up, hurrying towards the academy entrance. He is the one that's treading on the heavenly staircase. Qian Yao gathered her ocean blue hair. Her spotlessly white cheeks revealed a smiling expression, as she focused her attention in that direction. With a hula sound, a group of people arrived, included within both men and women. Junior sister Qian Yao, this fella does not have any good intentions. He wishes to bathe together with you all. Someone spoke, loudly reminding that she had to be careful. Hey, senior brother Liu, can you not slander others please? A female student called him out, speaking on Shahao's behalf. Senior brother Yiling Xue came out of isolation as well. Someone cried out in shock. This was clearly a well-known person, a genius of Goddess Academy. He was an extremely powerful expert. Yiling Xue looked onto the high platform and revealed a faint smile. It seems like he has encountered quite the problem. He might not be able to pass. He is going to fail. Hurry up and tear his body apart. Goddess Academy is not a place you can enter. Wu Feng said softly out of hatred. His face was sinister, losing his calm heart. He clenched his fists and watched nervously, truly wishing for Shahao to fail. Suddenly, all of the magical chains on the tall platform broke. Shahao broke free. Like a demonic god bathed in flames, there were bone texts all around him. Divine flames rushed several dozen zhong into the air. In that instant, all of the magical chains broke, turning into flowing light that rushed in all directions. Shahao stood there with his back towards everyone. He was like a divine furnace, releasing boundless divine might. Flames overflowed into the heavens. The sixth bell sound rang into the depths of Goddess Academy. At this moment, even the students, who didn't know what the bell sounds represented, raised their heads. They all felt shocked and prepared to see what was happening. Meanwhile, the open market was in chaos. As for the academy entrance, everyone was clamoring with noise. Many people's mouths were wide open. A group of people discussed among themselves. They were all stirred up and excited. Of course, there were quite a few who were jealous with complicated expressions. When they thought about how they still wanted to attack Shahao before, they couldn't help but panic. Of course, Goddess Academy's sect masters all learned of this as well. True deities, saints, and heavenly deities appeared one after another. Hey, I haven't seen his true appearance yet. Why doesn't he turn around? Tian Yao said. She wrinkled her fine nose, yet she could only see a rear figure. Yi Lingxue was speechless. Just now, he thought that Shahao had already failed, yet in the end, as soon as he spoke, the other party passed. On the high platform, the scene was changing. White mists scattered. Dragon scales flickered in the sky. A mountainous dragon claw reached out, incomparably sharp, and flickering with gold light as it surrounded that youth. Shahao sat there, confronting the green lamp. What is the Tao? A voice sounded from the green lamp, entering everyone's ears. It was so loud the deaf could hear it. Shahao's expression became serious for a bit, and then he said, without foundation or roots, there will be no leaves or glory. The life of all things, the completion of all things depends on the fate of the Tao. What is the Tao? This was still the sentence the green lamp spoke. The innate brings life, silent and empty. Alone and unchanging, one travels, yet never in danger. Also called the mother of the world, what could be said to be the Tao? Shahao replied again, what is the Tao? The great Tao is extensive, and it can be influenced. What is the Tao? Yin and Yang, the meaning of the Tao. What is the Tao? One question, one reply. Shahao explained from every aspect, but this question was too vast. Even if giants were to come and speak for several days and nights, it would be difficult for them to put everything they understood into words. It was because in this world, everyone was seeking the Tao, cultivating the Tao. In the end, he stood up. He kicked the green lamp over and said, this is the Tao. Everyone became speechless. Did this fella go mad? He dares to act with such disrespect. Only after a long time had passed did someone speak. Even more people took delight in Shahao's disaster. They all began to laugh. Then, unexpectedly, the green lamp disappeared, and the sound of the bell rang through heaven and earth again in a long and drawn-out manner. Shahao headed forward, entering the final trial. Everyone became stupefied, not knowing what to say. That place was dusky and accompanied with traces of mysterious mist. At this moment, Shahao's figure couldn't be seen clearly. Even his rear figure was now only an outline. We came late, missing out on the grand occasion. We can't even see his true appearance anymore. A gorgeous lady that seemed to have walked out from a painting spoke, revealing shock. A bone gate appeared there, pure white like jade. Primal chaos pervaded the air, and a mysterious aura filled this place. Upon entering the gate, one will face the natural laws of heaven. Death of body and soul awaits those who cannot endure until the end. A line of text appeared above the bone gate, shining brilliantly. It made everyone's hearts tremble. They secretly thought to themselves, if it was them in this young man's place, would they dare enter? Shahao didn't show any hesitation and directly walked in. In the end, the bone gate collapsed, extinguished in an instant. Your Tao heart is resolute. You passed. A grand voice sounded, one that sighed softly, carrying deep regret. He successfully passed. This, everyone was startled awake. The 8 trials before were enough to stop everyone, yet the last one didn't test one's conviction, and instead their resolution. If one said it was easy, but if one were to say it was hard, it really was difficult as well. If one had any hesitation, then they would naturally fail. When one even doubted themselves, what other paths were there left to walk? Everyone was shocked. Someone succeeded, passing the heavenly staircase and breaking the dust-covered history. The scene was absolutely silent. Where is the ladder? Why can't I find it? That's it. Is this the end? While everyone was under great shock, a voice suddenly sounded, and it came precisely from Shahao. This immediately shattered the silence and made jaws drop to the ground. This person was too full of life. Now that I passed like this, can I bathe together with the 10 beauties? Then, this muttering even more so caused this place to erupt into an uproar. Everyone erupted with noise. As for the ranked beauties, some of the corners of their lips tilted upwards, while others' foreheads revealed dark lines. There were others that grinded their teeth. The academy entrance boiled with commotion. The 12 enormous stone pillars were spotlessly white like jade as they supported the entrance building, grand and imposing. Everyone was discussing this matter excitedly. The sky had been pierced today. Someone truly passed the heavenly staircase, successfully making it through, shattering the peace of Goddess Academy. On top of the tall platform, Shahao turned around. He immediately recognized Qingyi, aka Yu Chan. She wore pure white clothes that made her look like a stalk of white lily. Even though she didn't reveal her true appearance, Yu Chan was still stunning, possessing an extraordinary temperament. She had long and slender legs, an impressive figure, undulating curves, snow-white neck, a delicate face, as well as clear and intelligent eyes that others couldn't bear to blaspheme. Of course, Shahao had seen Yu Chan's other side, so he naturally wouldn't be misled. This woman's methods were formidable, and normal people definitely wouldn't be able to subdue her. Qingyi, look, he really is looking at you. Could it be that he wants to bathe with you? Tian Yao teased. They were both on the beauty rankings. Her sapphire pupils shone as she spoke to Yu Chan, don't speak so randomly. Didn't Chen Lin already say before that this is a lecture? Yu Chan smiled. Her skin was snow-white, perfect and holy. When the group of men around them heard this, they all loosened a breath of air. Otherwise, if they really confronted Shahao, they would all grow apprehensive. Chen Lin was the only one with an embarrassed expression. Junior brother, I really must praise your courage and strength. Today, you passed the trial of heaven. This feat will definitely be recorded within my school's annals of history. Right, if you really have a chance to visit the tribulation crossing Divine Lotus, you definitely have to choose a good opportunity. The ranked beauties have a regular pattern in which they visit. There was someone who was quite brazen, shouting out from below. When these words sounded, this place immediately became even more noisy. It immediately became chaotic with noise. Junior brother, when you come back, we need to have a good discussion. Someone shouted out, despicable, all perverts. Shameless, scoundrels. All of the female students spat out, staring at those people. On the tall platform, Shahao turned around, because he could feel that someone had arrived. He secretly prepared the divine protection symbol and world-shattering symbol, believing that with these two, he could proceed without too much worry. Shahao's charge up the heavenly staircase left deep and long-lasting effects, completely shocking those 2 heavenly deities. They had been watching closely the entire time, but right now, they were like wooden dolls as they stood there in a stupor. This immediately drew everyone's attention. Everyone became incomparably shocked, and almost everyone knew that this really might be the old academy head that hadn't made an appearance in many years. Heavens. The old academy head is going to take him on as his disciple. This is the same as ascending into the heavens with a single leap, actually drawing my academy's most powerful existence's attention. Is he going to be personally taught? Many people felt jealous and envious. They simply couldn't believe what they were seeing. It can't be the academy head, right? Someone muttered softly, can't you see those great heavenly deities? Their eyes are all completely widened. Someone berated. On the tall platform, Shahao was extremely cautious. When facing these types of powerful figures, he didn't dare act carelessly. He respectfully gave his greetings. Are you willing to join my Dao sect? The elder asked. His hair was white, yet his complexion was like that of a child. His being emanated immortality and Dao, giving others a feeling of sprouting wings and rising to heaven. His aura was just too otherworldly. Can I soak in the divine pond for a few days? Shahao muttered. Below, the group of people were petrified. They all looked completely stunned. There was such a huge opportunity presented in front of him, yet this fella didn't cherish it, daring to haggle over this. Ha ha. Don't tell me you came for stolen scent, pilfered jade, here for a Dao companion. The elder teased. His deep eyes exuded intelligence, and the smile on his face was great. He didn't put on any arrogance, instead acting rather easygoing, joking around with Shahao. He even gave Qing Yi below a look and said, not bad. Everyone became stupefied. What was the old academy head implying? Was he recklessly trying to set them together? Yu Chan's mind jumped. When the elder gave her a look, she felt a bit awkward. The beauties beside her all began to tease her. Junior sister Qing Yi, you might have a Dao companion. The academy head looks quite enthusiastic if you ask me. This is tremendous heavenly fate. I am so jealous. Why don't we sisters all serve a single Dao companion? This video will end here. Thank you for watching.